40, but meanwhile, I just wanted to get this right. So we have students from fashion design, interior, and UI UX. Is that right? Okay, so we have the common landscape. We have all the creative minds here. We have the designers, right? All right, okay. So I am trying to contextualize my presentation on how we can improve the personality as a designer, which is ingrained in how we present our work and also how we communicate. So I'll try contextualize it, but also will try keeping it very general to all the designers here. So in case whenever you are having any question or if you want to share your insights, please make sure you raise your hand. There is an emoji button, I believe, on Google Meet, I believe so. Okay, or otherwise you can use the chat box. So everybody understands both in Hindi and English? Yeah, is there anybody who doesn't understand Hindi? Okay, so everybody's comfortable? Okay. All right. So I might switch between Hindi and English, but all right, if everybody's comfortable, we can go ahead with the flow. Okay. So before we start with the presentation, I just wanted to give you a brief introduction. So my name is Priyanka Gehlot. I am currently here in Melbourne, Australia. So I'm also a student. That's a coincidence, right? So I'm a PhD student. Student is a student, doesn't matter if you are in bachelor's, master's, or in a PhD. So I'm in my final year, so I'm working on a topic which is quite close to India because I'm working on Jugaad. So how we can, try recognizing Jugaad as a cultural practice and not just, as a, as a I don't know, like as a concept which we see, in households, but not, at level where we can learn from it. But since I have spent around 3 years on documenting, some Jugaad practices in informal markets of India, especially Delhi, I have learned one thing that the best way to become a designer is to actually learn from the context. And Jugaad actually expresses and exemplifies that insight. Okay, so I'm working around that topic, and I'm a very big supporter of how we can learn from our own culture and from our own context. And I think that would be a part of our presentation today, our discussion today. So apart from that, I am also sessional. I would not say that I'm teaching full-fledgedly, but I'm doing my teaching here at Swinburne. My university's name is Swinburne University of Technology. So I do teach subjects like UX design capstone and research design and methods sessionally, right? And currently I am also doing online facilitation, mentoring to RMIT students. That is also one of the universities here in Melbourne for UX design students. So that's my background. I've worked with Gauri ma'am when I was in India. So back in India, I did 3 years of teaching. So at different universities. I also worked for a brief period of time at industry, but then I got an opportunity to study and I'm here. All good? Okay, so I think I have gave you enough information to be familiar with this person who is here talking about presentation and communication. I want everyone to be very, easy, because this is a very, productive. I want this session to be very productive in a way that if you have joined this and if you're spending 1 hour, you need to take some important insights with you. It should not be only me talking and you listening. If you have something to discuss and share, please do not hesitate. Okay? So whatever that I'm going to share is from my own experience, okay? And if there's something which you do not agree with, you can, you can try making that, use of, right to speak by putting up your thoughts, all right? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. It's 3:38. Let's just make sure that we are finishing everything within the time. Gauri ma'am, can I start now?
Yes, ma'am. We can. Sanket sir, shall we begin? Everyone has joined, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So It would be really hard for me to take the introductions of everybody here. So if you are happy to leave your introductions in the chat, I'm really happy to read them, okay, afterwards. But yes, let me share my screen and also tell me if the slides are visible. So guys, you have to keep talking, okay? So maybe, or I don't know if you have an access to unmute yourself, but maybe one, because I cannot see the screen where everybody, is showing their faces. I'm on my slide. So if one can moderate for me, please, right? If there are any questions, please let me know. Okay, so the topic is how we can improve our presentation and communication skills for us being creative students and practitioners. So I'm going to really start with this one small activity. I hope my slide is visible. Yes?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So the second slide is about how we are positioning ourselves, okay, and where we vision ourselves. So you are calling yourself as designers coming from different fields of design, be it fashion design, interior, or UI, UX. But I think it's really important to refresh that, answer in our mind. I'm sure you must have got, some strong reasons, some strong motivations to join the course. But I think it's never, a bad idea to refresh our memory just so that we know that what roles, okay, or what responsibilities we'll be carrying as a designer, and accordingly, okay, what skills, we should be learning, okay, in order to fulfill the responsibilities of the role that you are into. So I want you to please put down your answers in the chat. So the question is, what will you be doing as a designer? Okay, let's just forget about the specific fields, but in general, you have to solve a problem as a designer. So what sort of responsibilities you believe is important for you to, carry? So I'm going to come back to the presentation, I'm sorry, the Google Meet screen, and I will see the chat here. Please put down your answers in the chat. Do we have a chat option here on Google Meet? Why I can't see the chat? Oh, it's here on the corner. Okay. Yes, please. So a question is very simple, that how you see yourself as a designer, what roles you think you have to fulfill in order to being a designer. Do not worry about silly answers. It's okay. Just write whatever you think is your answer. Again, the question is, what will you be doing as a designer? And I'm going to be populate those answers here on my slide. If you do not answer me, I'm afraid that I can move on with the slides, with the presentation. Come on, everyone. We have how many people here? Excluding faculties, I think around 40 to 45. Okay. Gauri ma'am, I hope they have an access to write it on the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay, let me give you a hint. Oh, yes. Okay. Janib is there, solve problems creatively. Yes, problem solving is one important responsibility. Fulfilling the need of the client should be the motive. Yes, understanding the client expectations. Gav is saying create visual content to communicate messages. Visualization is also important. Very good. I'm going to write it down. So somebody is saying visualization, then problem solving. Then we have another answer as where you're saying that we should be fulfilling the needs of the clients. Okay, so the client is an important stakeholder. So client expectations. So not only the expectations of the users, but also of the client. Okay. Then as a designer, my job is to create visually appealing, functional, and meaningful solutions based on your needs. So I'm just going to add one detail here. Meaningful or maybe problem solving to create meaningful solutions. /functional. Okay. What else? Understand user needs, market trends, and competitors. Absolutely. Apart from your users and client, we should be also well versed with market trends and competitors. So I can say market or competitor research. All right. Developing concepts, responsibility to fulfill clients' needs, doing creative thinking, meet the needs with innovation and creativeness, taking care of the client's choice. So a lot of you are actually favoring how we should be, meeting the needs and the expectations of the client. Good observation, everyone. Coordination with project team. Yes. Collaboration and coordination. Absolutely. Because you're not going to work alone when you are working on a project. So you need to know how to work with the team. So collaboration and coordination, absolutely. And then I saw somebody saying that we should be also, we should also be thinking innovatively, okay? Developing concept, yes. So final solution, development of final solutions. Yes, once your solutions are finalized, you can develop them. Okay. All right, so more or less, I think these are the important insights that we have got for this question. What will you be doing as a designer? You will be developing final solutions, you'll be visualizing, integrated with creative thinking. Okay. All right. And then also we have to be very, vigilant with respect to what are the client expectations apart from users' expectations. And this is, I would say, a very basic and general, role and responsibility, that is to solve a problem. As a designer, whether you're a fashion designer or an interior designer or a UI UX designer, you're always trying to enhance your user experience or you're trying to solve their problem. Okay, well done. So now, since we know what are the, important roles and responsibilities, now can we think of the skills against, these responsibilities which can make you, a responsibly led designer. Okay, if you have to meet the client's expectations, so what skills are needed for that? So now, since you know all the answer, all the insights for this question, try thinking of all the skills needed to actually execute these tasks. I would want you to please answer that again in the chat. And meanwhile, I'll try putting my laptop on charge. Just a second. Okay. Yes, so I can see some of you have already started answering. Imagination and originality. Yes, sense of aesthetics, attention to details, critical thinking. Designers need a diverse skill set encompassing design, technical knowledge, communication, and problem solving abilities. You must be good in project management. I like that. So let me start writing again all the important ones here. Project management is a task, and to manage that, you need the skills of project managing the project by again doing some good coordination and collaboration with your team members. What's that? Okay. Then we have somebody saying you need to be a good critical thinker. Yes. So critical thinking. Okay. Imagination and originality. All right. Sure. Imagination with originality. All right. What else? Leadership qualities, okay? Adaptability and curiosity. Amazing, Arya. Okay, adaptability and curiosity. And capacity in the level of thinking. Yes, you can enhance your level of thinking by going through process again and again. So that is iteration. You have to be iterative. You should not be linear. You can go back and forth in the design process that you are applying. Good communication skills, absolutely. Okay, so again, more or less, we have got these important pointers. If I'm missing something, you can put it in the chat. But let me now take you from this slide to this slide. Okay, sorry, to this one. So I saw that most of you have talked about how we can enhance our critical thinking. It's how it is important for us to be a good visual thinker or critical thinker. And I was hoping for somebody to say observation. Yes. So what do you think of this important skill? According to me, observation is, a foundational skill to all the other skills that we have talked about. Okay. If I go back to this slide again, right? How you can actually, be a good visual thinker, how you can be, a curious person to be more adaptable and to be, more original in your thoughts. I would say by learning from your context, right? And that can only be done by being a good observer. Does everybody agree with me? Can I say this, that observation is an important skill along with others that you have talked about? Sir, I believe somebody raised the hand. I can see it like for a fraction of a second. Okay. I don't know. I lost that bit. No problem. But yes, I'm just talking about that how observation as a skill is a foundational skill to whatever, skill set that we have discussed here on this slide. Right? So if you actually pick any skill from here, it is, clearly linked to this observation as a skill. So I say that do not just look, but notice, okay? Do not just notice, but again, ask yourself that what is it, okay? Wonder that what is it? Ask questions. Do not just wonder and ask why. All right, so there is a technique called 5W1H. If you ask me that, okay, Priyanka, you are asking me to be a good observer. How can I do that? So for that, the answer is going to be using this technique. If you have other techniques, you can tell me. Probably we have so many ways to actually make your observation better. But this is the one which I find very helpful. Okay, so 5W1H is nothing, but it is mostly, asking who is doing it. Okay, what is happening? So the first W is who, the second one is what, the third one is where, and the fourth one is when it's happening, all right? And why it's done that way. And the H is how it works. So if you look around, okay, in your surrounding, I'm sure you will find a service or an object, okay, with which you can actually practice your observation. Yep. So as a designer, if you are not, conscious about your surroundings, if you are not, noticing and wondering and asking questions to comprehend that what's going behind this amazing product and service, or behind this amazing dress, or behind that amazing, spatial, spatial sensory environment, I reckon if you can actually, get to the depths of good design, to actually get to the depths of good design, you have to know how to observe. Okay. So I would say learn from the context itself rather than relying solely on ideas borrowed from textbooks. I just believe that as designers, we are being, taught a lot of theories, lot of frameworks, a lot of concepts. I am not saying that those things are bad. Okay. Those are important lenses that we require with which we can, look at the world. Okay. We have to shape our understanding with what we read. But to actually enhance it, you also have to learn from the context. Okay. Because what we read can actually be, contradicted by the context, or it can be validated or justified by the context. Okay. I mean, a very stupid example, let's say, in a book or in a research paper, I read that, oh, COVID-19 is not harming, people that much, then it is harming heart patients. Okay, this is what I have read in a book. But if I look at the context, like for example, if I look in my family, and if there are people who are suffering from it quite badly without, them being a heart patient, it actually contradicts, right? What I have read and what I have seen. It's a very stupid example, but I'm just trying to give you a simpler understanding of what I mean by this line here. Okay. So try going around. This can be actually a day activity. You can try spending 3 to 4 you know hours if you have a lot of time. If not, if you're when you are traveling, or when you are trying to wait for your teacher to come in the class, whatever context that you are in, try observing, make notes, or try sketching it out. Think these questions. Okay, who, what, where, when, and how, just to comprehend the aspects of that particular product or the service in the given context, to actually know, what is the issue that we can solve. Okay, why I'm actually talking about observation and comprehending your context, to actually know what is the problem. Because, if you go back to this slide, you told me that you want to solve a problem. Okay, so that you can come up with the meaningful solution. My question here is, can you solve a problem without knowing a problem? Nope. So to actually know a problem in its original context, you have to start observing. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Okay. So I'll keep going. So I hope I have convinced you guys that you have to observe, okay? Be a good observer, and that is the foundation of your either research, design, or any task that you are doing, okay, that is being listed here on this slide. Okay, so my next strategy that I want to share with everybody here is related to your presentation, okay, and communication. So presentation and communication go hand in hand. All right, if you know that what you are conveying, okay, let's just suppose that you got a project from your teacher, you have worked on that project, okay, and now you have a solution, so that you can take precious time of your audience to share your solution with them. Okay, now in this whole scenario, when you have come up with a solution, working on a project, and you know that there's somebody listening, going to be listening to your solution, to your presentation, you have to actually ask yourself whether this presentation is made for the audience who is going to be here for an hour, or it is made for the audience who only have like 5-10 minutes. Okay, if you try understanding your audience, okay, and try understanding the parameters with which that audience is sitting for you, it is going to help you decide whether to make short presentations or long presentations. Okay, but I would say at this stage, when you are actually starting your course, you need to practice both. You need to practice both long and short format. Right, for short presentations, please remember that you are communicating your ideas clearly and quickly. Okay, and these are great for pitches. Okay, they are, if you have seen Shark Tank, okay, what's that? I mean, literally they have how many minutes? Like 2 minutes just to convince those investors about their idea, about their solution, right? That's the pitch. So when you know that the short presentation has to be impactful, especially when you are pitching and you're trying to convince your audience, it is going to be of a short format. All right, long presentations, it usually happens in academia, where you're trying to explain the full process of how you arrived at your solution, how you arrived at something which can be launched in the market. So if you're trying to explain the full process, the thinking and the decisions behind your thinking, important. I mean, these sort of presentations are important for final reviews, for client presentations and storytelling. And therefore, you can actually, go for long format. This is very general that I'm talking here. But the catch here is that you need to learn both the formats. You just cannot tell me that, oh, we have always been doing, 30 minutes presentation for our jury or for our, client presentation, but never got a chance for short presentation. practice with the same presentation that you prepared for 30 minutes. Try condensing, okay, the information so that you can present it in 5 minutes. If you can ace this skill, you are good to go with your presentations. Okay, you need to know how to turn that 30-minute presentation into 5 minutes of presentation. Okay, so I just wrote this line here. Whether you are given 30 seconds or 30 minutes, you know how to present your work. Okay, now since I'm also trying to give you a tool with which you can practice. So for the observation, I gave you the tool called 5W1H. For this one, I'm going to give you one tool called Storyboard. Okay, that's my favorite. That's why I've made a star on it. Storyboard is an amazing tool with which you can try explaining a lot of things in a short time. Do not worry if you do not know how to sketch, if you do not know, or if you are not that good with sketching, you can literally have this one piece of paper with all the important, steps created with the arrows and showing the emotional state. So this scenario is of replenishing office supplies, okay? So trying to restock my office with all the supplies. So the first step tells me that, oh, James takes a physical inventory of the supply closet and notes items needed on clipboard. Then what he does next, that's really easy because I can see that, oh, from first thinking, the second thought is that James creating an order by picking items from favorites list via his office desktop. And the third thing is he actually adds the shipment arrival date to calendar from confirmation message. So you just have, these small faces showing us that with each and every step or the action of James in order to, book the supplies for office, taking him from what emotional state to what state. So this is a very simple visualization. So we know that, there is an office. So the scenario has been visualized a little bit more in this one. And then, okay, this is the James desk. What he's doing, he's creating a supply list. Oh, now it has been added to his calendar. So it's success. So it's very clear. Even if I do not read the text label here, I know what's going on. But over here, yes, I have to read. But along the way, I'm reading the steps. I know the emotional state. Okay, but here it becomes too easy for me to just look at the image and understand. So what I'm saying here is, please do not resist yourself, okay, from using this tool, regardless of you knowing how much you can sketch and how much you cannot. Just try this tool, okay? Storyboarding is the one. All right, so I have just one small activity here. It's again related to your question, of presentations, that how we can make short presentations with the help of these templates, okay? The templates or the visual artifacts, like the one which I've just discussed, that is storyboard. And I've also tried, writing a few more here, just so that you have, some idea that what I'm talking. So here, I just want to know from your side that what visual templates or what visual tools you think can be, fruitful or can be productive for us to use as designers to present our work in a very engaging and condensed manner. So storyboard is that. Mood board, I believe all fashion students would agree with me that mood board is amazing, okay, to actually, show our client that what is the inspiration from where we are drawing, our major decisions of color palette or, typography, iconography, lot many things. Then for interior designers, I believe, spatial walkthroughs through different softwares is again one amazing way of explaining that how your solution is working without actually going into the monotonous way of just explaining the features of your solution, rather show them the solution, right? For UX designers, I would say personas. Personas is just a template where you actually capture the needs and the goals and challenges of the user group, okay, for whom you are solving the problem. Is there any other tool that you think is going to be helpful? I'm going to go back to your Google Meet chat. So the question is, please tell me any visual template or tool that can help you present your work if you have to do short presentations. But I believe even for the long presentation, you can use those artifacts to better engage your audience. So let me come back here. Okay. 3D modeling, Garv is saying 3D modeling software and rendering programs to presentation. Absolutely. So again, do not be afraid. Okay. I am the one who was always afraid of softwares and working, on, on softwares. I mean, I have never been made peace with softwares. But I believe if you are a designer, it's always better to play with the software, even if you do not like it. And later on, you will see that it is going to pay the benefits because you will then have a way to communicate and present. If your idea is in your head, but you cannot communicate, it doesn't work. Okay. So please keep yourself, give yourself at least an hour or so every day to be, that person who knows, nitty and gritty of your software. So as a UX designer, I believe Figma or Adobe XD are our software. So you know your software of your field, just go ahead with it. Okay. Tejas, empathy mapping. Yes, along with persona and customer journey map, we have empathy mapping. IA, information architecture. Okay. What else? For interior designers, can I say blueprint? What is the name? I just remember blueprint. Floor blueprint, if I'm not wrong. Floor plan or floor blueprint. Yeah. Okay. Yes. SWOT analysis. Yes, why not? If you are doing market research, if you are, literally analyzing a competitor, knowing their strengths, weaknesses, and threats, it can be organized, into a template called SWOT. Beautiful. Yes, sure. Okay. So it means that you are getting what I'm saying, right? I mean, you can have loads and loads of artifacts, tools, but you should know that why we are using them. Okay. First of all, we are using them to organize our thinking. Okay. And then to actually use it in our presentation to engage the audience. So I believe everybody would agree with me that using the tools is very much effective when you are presenting to your audience. Empathize with your audience so that you know which format to be made. Regardless of that, you need to practice both short format and long format. Okay. All right. So I have shown you the examples already. I'm going to come up with this important practice apart from your observation and presentation, and that is your very own, I think, way of dealing with things. Okay. What we do when something goes wrong in our design, we ask question that, oh my God, ye ho kaise gaya? How did this happen? अरे शायद उस वजह से हो सकता है. Then we start actually, complaining about the things that we might have not noticed or the things that we have noticed but we didn't fix, right? So this is something that we have been doing, but actually this is one practice which can help you to refine your solutions, to refine your approach as a designer. Okay, so I would say after each task you finish, please reflect. If you believe me or not, reflective practice in itself is an approach, okay, to deal with a lot of design problems. So this practice helps you understand your design choices that you have made along the process. You will learn from your mistakes, and before you develop and deliver your solution to the client, you can actually, fix those issues and improve the process and the solution. Okay. I know this might sound very general, but when you actually, if you have done any projects in the past, you can actually ask yourself that how many times you have reflected on your work. You might do it because maybe a certain phase of your design process is asking you to do that, but not as a, but not as a regular practice. But I would say make it as your regular habit, okay, to reflect upon your tasks. And you can literally enhance this reflective practice by soliciting feedback. Okay, gather feedback from your family, friends, peers. So to get a third worldview. Okay, because now since you are so much, attached and invested in your project, you start defending your project. Okay, unintentionally. But since we are not designing for ourselves, we are designing for our user group, we really have to be in a mindset of be able to absorb the criticism. Okay, you need to get some critical feedback. So let's start with those people who have no idea about your project, and that could be your family or your friends, and then go to your experts. Maybe those could be your teachers, faculty, or your colleagues. Okay, so I am saying that gather the feedback on your work from first those people who have no idea about your design, and then from those people who have actually helped you in the process. Okay, so these are four actually phases that I have visualized can make your feedback phase really easy. The first thing is to gather the feedback on the solution you have created, or maybe even if you have an idea. Then you have to analyze. This is one mistake which I have seen, that people do gather a lot of data. Okay, as designers, we have a solution by just reading that data. No, you really have to spend time analyzing the data so that you can make some sense out of it. Okay, you need to see that what feedback has actually provided you. So this is one framework if you want to note it down. So this is known as roses, birds, and thorns. So roses, birds, and thorn, these are three parameters based on which you can analyze the set of feedback you have gathered. Okay, so roses, what does it mean? That spot what worked for you that you have got. Just ask yourself, what feedback is working for me in relation to your project. Of course, just do not forget about the project, do not forget about the problem you are solving. So what has potential? So okay, there are feedback which are very, onto the point, but if they're indicating you to, do some potential improvements, why not? Let's just do it. So what has potential? Like what ideas, okay, that they have liked, and they think that, okay, this feedback related to my solution do have a potential to do improvements. Let's consider it and do the refinement. And what needs, oh, sorry. Yeah. And what needs improvement? So what has potential, what needs improvement, they both are quite overlapping. Okay, so buds and thorns can always be fixed when you're analyzing. So actually take an idea that you are sharing with your friends, with your family, with your peers, with your experts, right? And they give you feedback on that idea. They might be telling you that in your idea, this is not working, that is working. Okay, so whatever negative comments or whatever, constructive criticism you get, I would say that does fall under buds and thorns. Okay, and just do not get, do not get sad about it. It's your phase of improving and integrating the feedback. That's why my third stage is integration. So whenever you see buds and thorns in your uh, ideas as per the feedback, fix them wherever it is important. And the roses are good. I mean, the good parts of your idea should be strengthened, and just not, should not waste time spending, a lot of iteration on it to make it, more fancy. Let it be. Okay, just work on the buds and thorns, and therefore integrate the feedback. That's my next step. And once you integrate it, you decide what works as per that framework of roses, birds, and thorns. Then you freeze your idea. Okay, you then do not move ahead with any more, multiple rounds of refinement. You then just tell yourself that, oh, I didn't design in a bubble. I took the feedback, I did some reflective practice, and therefore I made my idea more inclusive, more refined, and more supportive, okay, of the objectives. All right. So if I have to actually show you the relationship between reflection and feedback, reflection you do individually. Okay. That is the creative practice you do individually. You are doing reflection by yourself. It's more like introspection. You're thinking of what you have done. Okay. There is also one word, I think I just forgot to write it down. I'm going to just take a moment to write that down. So there are two things. Okay. One is retrospection. And the other thing is visualization. Okay. So visualization is a future state thinking. All right. But I'm just saying, do not worry about visualization here, because you have already finished your task. Reflection is a part of you doing, you're doing question answer round with yourself after you have finished the task. Okay, so therefore visualization is not, the thing of reflection, but retrospection is the thing of reflection. It means that you are just going back to the tasks that you have done to map, okay, to map what went right, maybe what happened, maybe let's just do that. What happened, what went right, how, what did not went right, what I could have done better. These could be your questions that can help you to do some retrospection. Please make sure to follow this one practice when you finish your first year or maybe first semester, and when you enter your second semester, take the one of the projects from your first semester and do some retrospection. You are going to learn a lot. And I think, I don't know, like maybe when I was in my graduation and my master's, I never did this level of reflection. That, oh, let me just pick one of my projects from the last semester and let's see what was going on in there. I never did that. But if you can do it, in your learning journey, this is going to make you, see a lot of things. And it can then actually contribute to your set of skills that we discussed here. So can I say that over here, one important skill that we can add is retrospection? Can I say this? Retrospection. I mean, all the other skills we know. Okay, we know that, oh, we have to be empathetic, we have to be a good visual thinker, we have to be, very innovative. But actually, to achieve those skills, I just feel you need to also learn from your mistakes. And within that aspect or within that context, retrospection proves really helpful. Okay. All right. So I think I have made my point of you doing observation, retrospection to be able to feed in into other skills that we have got here on the slide. Okay. Let me go again to this one. Do we have any questions until now, like until here, whatever that I've discussed? Any questions? All right. All good. Then I have this one closing slide. We still have 15 minutes to go, but I want to actually, do some question answers with you guys. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So let's just park our 15 minutes for Q&A. But yeah, the presentation, I wanted to end it, this one, with the line, that you see on my slide, that good design work definitely speaks, but great design communicates. Okay. And we learned that how we can achieve that. So keep practicing to make your ideas. There is always a room of improvement. You have to come up with your own style. Okay. Therefore, you need to keep practicing to make your ideas seen, heard, and understood. Okay. So do not try thinking that whatever skills that I have got it on my slide or whatever that I've discussed here are the only skills which are needed. It might be possible that in your course or in your context, there are so many skills that I have not even talked about, but they do make sense. And that is why I wanted you to acknowledge the power of contextual learning. Okay. So please keep your context, very active in your work. Okay. Because that can make you, or that can inform you or guide you, in a ways that you have never thought of. Okay, rather than solely relying on what you get from the books or from the research papers or from the journal papers, it's always better to try either contradicting or either validating with your own learnings and thoughts. And your own original learnings, your own original thoughts can come from two things: from contextual learning that can happen through observation and reflection. Okay, so that's my take on how you can improve your presentation and communication skills. And here I finished my presentation. Let's just get into the question answers if there are any. Any questions? I believe you can switch on your cameras, everyone. Smart people. I was busy presenting and everybody switched off their cameras. That's okay. I was anyways there on my slide deck. I could not see your faces here, but that's okay. Can we do some, I don't know, constructive chit chat just so that you can reflect on what you have learned? So let's just do some reflection activity here. Please. So if you have got anything new from this or anything that you must have been thinking and, thought that, oh, today, like even I talked about the same thing, even if that is your, learning, you can share your thoughts. You can also raise your hand. We can ask you to unmute and talk. Come on. Let's do it. Or maybe I have to pick a name. No, let's not do that. Okay, if you guys are not having questions, no worries. I would love to, I would love to share like more tips and tricks for presentation communication when you guys are actually working on your projects by maybe having, another webinar later on. I mean, you can, of course, inform your faculties, and when you actually get into the project learning, into the projects, working on the project, then you actually see that what are the issues coming up. And if you have solutions already applied from this webinar and it works, no problem. But if you think that, oh, it's not working and it's quite tricky, it's quite wicked, you can always come back to your faculty or to my LinkedIn page. I can always help. Right. So Tejas, you have a question? You're raising your hand. Okay, so Tejas is asking, how can we improve and enhance our communication skills? Okay, so I believe I said that in my slide deck, that you have to be very clear in your thought process. Clarity is the must. Okay, I think this one point got buried in my explanation, that how important it is for you to have the clarity of the whole design process that you are applying in your project. So when you are clear that why you have done what you have done, it becomes so easy for you to narrate and craft the story. Okay. If you are very confused with the tools that you're using, with the process that you're applying in your project, you can never be able to communicate anything effectively. Okay. So if you can just make a note of this, we as, third person, we as audience, we would love to know your process. Okay. We would love to know the clarity in your process and how your tools are informing your, story. Right? We do not want you to just tell us just tell us your, solutions. Do not bombard us, with all important stuff that you have created. It's good. I mean, you must have, done some amazing job in that solution, but how have you done it? We also want to learn. Okay. So having that clarity of the design process and the tools that you're using, trying to answer all the whys. If you pick pink color for your wireframe button, if I ask you that why this pink, and if you cannot answer me, it means you were not conscious enough to actually back up your decision. Okay, so please make sure that all your decisions in the design should be research driven. Okay, you should have a proper way of answering the why of that one question that can occur at any point of time when you're presenting from the audience. Okay, and therefore, again, I mean, I'm reinforcing my point here that you need to have a clarity, you need to have a proper, understanding of what you're using in the process. I hope I've answered your question, Tejas. And when you say how, when I say you have to be very clear in your project's process and the tools, it means that you also have to read the significance of those tools, right? Let's suppose you are doing persona or customer journey map. Can I ask, Tejas, from which stream you are, like fashion, interior, or UX? UX. Okay. So if you say that, oh, I want to use customer journey map, but you are confused between customer journey map and task flows. That's another tool, task flow. If you have that confusion, and with that confusion, if you move forward, you are going to lose your quality of the explanation. Okay, so please do not skip reading, do not skip your theoretical understanding, conceptual understanding of whatever tools that you are implementing in your project. Okay, all right. Anyone else? So Vasudev is asking, I get stuck while presenting my projects. How can I overcome this? Please take help of storyboards. Okay. If you want to present a scenario, let's suppose you created a solution, think of that solution being used by your user group. So how they are going to use or interact with your solution. So that interaction can be projected in a form of a storyboard. Does that sound doable, Vasudev? Yeah? You're also from UX, if I'm not wrong. So visualizing the scenario, okay? Again, you also have to empathize with your audience. Uh, you know, as someone who have no idea about your topic, and you're literally teaching them that topic, okay? You're teaching them that see the how this solution works that I have came up with. Give them the context to understand. How do you expect anybody to understand without giving them a context? And storyboard gives the context. Okay, it gives the scenario based understanding to the audience. If I tell you that, see, my name is Priyanka, I am just studying, PhD here. Here means what? Where? I mean, you need to tell specifics so that you can contextualize the whole information to make some sense out of it. Okay, and I would say meaningful, sense making is important, and that can only happen when you give a scenario based understanding. And please use storyboard, try doing it. It's really easy. You can always show current state of your solution and the future state of your solution. Let's suppose you came up with a solution which helped somebody, okay, in a certain context. So let's suppose if I am using WhatsApp and there was some issue in WhatsApp, but with your solution, with your feature, a new feature in the WhatsApp have helped to experience something good which was missing earlier. So storyboard can also help you to do some comparative analysis between current state experiences and future state experiences. Even that can be used by any other designer from fields like interior and fashion. So before after, right, that we usually see a lot. Gerv is asking, what key information should we convey to our clients? Yeah, that's cool. So client always wants to understand for like what sort of needs and pain points you have identified for the user group. Because see, client wants you to come up with a solution that satisfies the user group. Okay. So once your solution is trying to answer that question, that see, this is how the problem of the user group has been solved, and therefore your business is safe. Okay. You are going to be doing good business because your user group will be happy because I have fixed the problem. So just tell them the problem that you have identified and tell them the solution. If they're interested to know that how have you arrived at your solution, then you can, of course, talk about the process. Okay. So I have not actually came here with lots and lots of textbook and YouTube links or TEDx links. No. To be very honest, my motive to come here is to make you understand that you have to develop your design sensibility. Okay. You just think design, as any other, habit of your life. Okay. Where you do it because you think it's important. Design, we do it because we think it's important. We solve problems because that's important for the society, for the businesses. Correct. So you have to develop your mindset in a way that every time that you try solving a problem, you are learning. Even if you're not solving a problem, because this is also one of the biggest taboos that we believe that we have to solve a problem. No, like as a designer, we should be acknowledging the solutions which are already there. Okay. There must be a lot of solutions being done for that problem, maybe by the norm, by the ordinary people, who the users. So try not only to solve, but in also to learn, to absorb, to reflect back, to make sure that you are doing a lot of iteration means that you are coming back to the first step and then going to the last step to see if you haven't missed anything. Okay. So I can say that if you try having your observation and reflection intact throughout your learning journey, you are going to develop your design sensibility, find your style. Okay, find your design style, find your design approach. आपके क्या वैल्यूज हैं जिसके बेसिस पे आप डिजाइन करोगे. अगर मैं बोलूँ गैम्बलिंग ऐप बनानी है ना, अभी आप तो बोलोगे मैं तो हूँ डिजाइनर, मैं तो बना दूंगा गैम्बलिंग ऐप, लेकिन नहीं, तुम्हारे तुम्हारे कोई डिजाइन वैल्यूज है. Yes, according to my design values, I'm not going to be creating anything which has no ethical principles in it. There is a whole subject on ethical design principles. But you can say that, oh, okay, let me. But इसका मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि यूजर्स नहीं है ना हमारे जो गैम्बलिंग करते हैं. We do have a lot of users who do betting on you on digital media or on digital apps. So how to actually help them? So yes, and now here I believe that as a designer, I can contribute something in ethics, and therefore I can, you know, enhance the app, gambling app, in a way that will not manipulate the users. Okay, that will tell the users, that will inform the users about the intentional barriers and risks. I can slow down the impulsiveness of my users while they're playing the app. ऐसा नहीं था कि आप अगर नहीं बनाओगे तो लोग बनाने दें. There are a lot of gambling apps already. But yes, my ethics or my ethical values as design practitioner says that I can slow down the impulsiveness. I can use, lot of ways with which the user will be informed that what will happen if you click on this. Oh, you will lose a lot of money. Oh, let me just not do it. So, yep, as a UX designer, I can give them a lot of prompts in their, screen flow to slow down their impulsiveness. And therefore, you have contributed in the gambling industry by grounding your design in the values or in the design principles that you feel can make you a responsible lead designer. But it's a long way to go. Okay, just do not worry about it. I'm just giving you a highlight that you have to take a lot of decisions in the design process, okay, or in the design industry. And to take those decisions, you have to develop your set of design principles, okay? And these set of design principles are broadly categorized into 4. If you just want to write it down, you can maybe just read it later. So the first one, I would say atomic principles, which is full of visual design principles, okay, color, blah, blah, blah. Atomic principles, then you have universal principles, ethical principles, and aesthetic principles, okay? These are 4. And you can just keep reading, about them until your course is over. And you will see that by the end of your course, you have actually created a manifesto, a document with all these important principles that can be categorized into these 4 categories. And that can be actually your guide. It is your moral compass, okay, with which you're gonna take decisions in the design process. So that is also one of your skills being a designer. You have to take a decision. You have to be a good decision maker, grounded in these design principles that I've discussed. Okay, so Anshu Singh, this is the last question that I'm taking. Which tool is best for interior designer from your side? Oh, so see, I have been actually talking and discussing about the tools which can be used by anybody coming from whatever field you are. I'm not specifically aware of interior designing and the tools of it because I'm a UX designer myself, but I would say use storyboard whenever you want to explain before and after story. Okay. But if you have to discuss for storytelling, because what you see in a presentation is a good crafted story. Okay, a narrative that's flowing from point A to point B. And to get that right, I believe the general tools that I've discussed here can help you with, of course, your specific tools that you will be learning in your course. So just be patient and keep absorbing and learning. Okay, so I'm done, everybody. I think we have also left with no time. So let's just wrap it up. Okay, so all the very best, everyone. It was really great to share my insights with you all. If you have any specific questions, you can post them to Gauri ma'am or your faculty, and they can forward it to me, and I can reply back. Okay, so thank you.
Thank
And
you
I
so
think
much,
Gauri
ma'am.
ma'am can also share the
Yes.
presentation with you all, like later on. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. It was a very interactive session, and with the students also participating and joining in with their queries, it was great to see the students' enthusiasm as well. Because many of them, they are on their breaks still, they have joined
Oh,
the sessions, so
okay.
it's really commendable for them. And I would request everyone, if we can turn on the videos, please. We can have a picture with ma'am.
I think everybody is happy for the picture.
Yes, I'm waiting, everyone. बस last photo ले लेंगे बस session के. We have all happy, smiling faces.
Is it done?
Yes,
I've been
it's done.
posing my smile.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Before I leave, everybody is happy and smiling. Good to see everyone. Whenever I visit India, I would love to meet you all. So I wish you all the very best and thank you everyone for having me. Thank you, Gauri ma'am. And
Thank
HOD
you
sir.
for
Thank
joining
you.
in, ma'am.
Okay. So I think I can leave. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, all
Thank
the
you. Thank you.
students. Thank you, Sanket sir. Thank you to all.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.